Angela Menz Millinery is bright, it's colourful, and it has a lot of fun about it. So it's really important to me with the things that I'm making and the things that I'm doing that there is that sense of fun. I just sort of fell into millinery. So I was studying fashion and had a family background in horse racing. I just started making things for myself and then just sort of evolved, and it kept growing. I think colour is probably the most important thing when I'm designing and when I'm creating. Colour is very much first and foremost. I always go through phases with the materials that I like working with. Really love using plastics, using spray paints and dyeing things. So that's kind of what I've been working with at the moment. When you're creating something, you've got to have an understanding of what's happening in the broad sense of fashion, and then try and pull that into my work and my design and my own aesthetic and my own interpretation. For me, my creative process, I often just start with one idea. Usually it is a colour or it's a colour combination. Then it sort of goes into the materials that I want to work with, and then it's how to kind of put those things together. Once I've got that first starting idea or starting point, things do seem to just kind of flow along. But quite often what I've thought about at the start ends up being quite different to what I end up with. I really enjoy it. I get a lot of pleasure from it. So, you know, it's that you keep doing something that you enjoy. I dressed up for Winx just to celebrate the horse, and it sort of started as this thing with my dad. So my dad is really what got me into racing and millinery. It just grew into this really silly, ridiculous experience. And then people really understanding and appreciating and celebrating along as well it was really fun. On Track on Trend is a blog and a social media accounts. It's kind of like my perspective on a race day. It's my perspective on fashions on the field, racing, millinery. It's things that I like, so things that I see when I go to the races. I try and take people on a bit of a journey with me. It's just something that I started sort of for fun with a friend and just kept growing and kept going with, which has been incredible. And it really started because people would ask me when I would go to these race days, who was wearing what, who did you see? And then it was like, well, let's make this into something else that everyone can just come and have a look at. Best to find me on Instagram at @ontrackontrend. I often hear people say that they can't wear hats and that they don't have the right face to wear hats, and I just think you haven't found the right one. I also think sometimes you've just got to put a hat on, play around with the angles, try it on a different side, try it tipped forward, try it tipped back, because having a hat maybe just tipped that slight bit to the side can make all the difference.